I'm leaving everything to him.
What about this ring of yours? Is that staying too?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Lord of the Rings games.
For if you do not oppose the army of Angmar, then all the lands of Middle-earth will fall forever into darkness and shadow.
That is why the Fellowship follows you. Against the dark forces.
For this list, we'll be looking at those games that did justice to Tolkien's Middle-earth. Which Lord of the Rings game do you think deserves more attention? Let us know in the comments. Let's go. Number 10, The Lord of the Rings Conquest. Something of a guilty pleasure, Conquest is basically Star Wars Battlefront adapted to the Lord of the Rings universe. While Pandemic Studios did not manage to fully replicate the magic of its other franchise, Conquest still has plenty of things going for it. The single-player campaign captures the epic scale of the battles as depicted in the movies. There's even an evil route that greatly alters Tolkien's story. The multiplayer can also be fun with the right crowd, especially the titular Conquest mode. Ultimately, underwhelming combat and poor AI hinder Conquest's potential, but fans of Lord of the Rings are likely to still have a good time with this game.
That huge machine sprays fire upon the field!
Number 9, The Lord of the Rings Adventure Card Game.
But they fear you. That is why the Fellowship follows you. Against the dark forces.
It seems only natural that a Lord of the Rings card game would exist in a post-Hearthstone world. Luckily, this 2019 release is more than just a clone of Blizzard's title. The adventure card game is a single-player experience that pits an ever-evolving deck of heroes against Sauron's forces. Each scenario builds on the last to craft a grand overall tale. The mechanics are complex, the battles are difficult, and the roster of cards is impressive. Overall, Adventure Card Game scratches a digital itch that a Lord of the Rings release had yet to satisfy.
Sauron is regaining his power, and he wants the ring back, so stay away from his eye, or all will be lost.
Number 8, Guardians of Middle-earth. While MOBAs are usually synonymous with PC gaming, Guardians of Middle-earth was first and foremost designed with the console market in mind. Tailor-made for a controller, Guardians of Middle-earth streamlines the typical gameplay found in MOBAs like League of Legends.
For Thranduil and Greenwood.
It also successfully retains many of the strategic and cooperative elements that make this genre so addictive. Although Guardians of Middle-earth didn't have the staying power of the best MOBAs, it did prove that the genre could work outside of the PC scene. More importantly, who hasn't wanted to lead Gollum into battle against the likes of Gandalf and Galadriel? Number 7, The Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. When trips to Middle-earth became almost a yearly thing in the early 2000s, this decade produced plenty of variety. The Third Age is a turn-based RPG in the vein of classic Japanese franchises like Dragon Quest and especially Final Fantasy that prioritizes accessibility. Featuring a roster of fresh faces, The Third Age's story exists alongside the classic Lord of the Rings tale. This allowed it to offer something new while sprinkling in elements and characters from Tolkien's narrative. With high production value, solid if unspectacular combat, and a suitably grand adventure, The Third Age is a must-play for RPG fans who love a bit of Middle-earth.
Hello, lovelies.
You live?
No thanks to you.
Can't you see I was hunting them?
Number 6, The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers.
Frodo carries the fate of us all. We must defend him.
Released to coincide with the movie, The Two Towers is a highly enjoyable action romp through Middle-earth. Featuring 3 playable characters with distinct enough styles to make multiple playthroughs worth it, The Two Towers delivers fast-paced hack-and-slash combat. It tops that off with a rewarding progression system. Since each mission centers around sequences from the first 2 movies, the game's environments and visuals are fittingly cinematic. While a touch too short, The Two Towers is a thrill ride from beginning to end. There's plenty of extras here that should delight fans of the franchise. Number 5, The Lord of the Rings: The Battle for Middle-earth 2.
There's enough for everybody. Our structures! Weapons, dwarves! Weapons!
Building upon the very solid foundations of 2004's The Battle for Middle-earth, EA's sequel expands its Tolkien influence to include more lore than fans could ask for. The Battle for Middle-earth 2 is foremost a real-time strategy game. Players must build armies as they take the fight to both the heroes and villains, depending on which of the 2 campaigns is played. With 6 factions and plenty of replay value, this game offers a lot of content, particularly when it comes to the War of the Ring mode and the multiplayer skirmishes. Number 4, The Lord of the Rings Online.
Aragorn and I hoped the Rangers alone could hold back the Witch King's advance, and that Angmar's strength had not yet grown too great. We were wrong.
A universe as rich as Tolkien's is an ideal candidate for the MMO treatment. The Lord of the Rings Online debuted in 2007 before transitioning to a free-to-play model in 2010. In that time, it became the most fully realized simulation of Tolkien's world. The game blends typical MMORPG staples with a grounded tone while taking its story well beyond the scope of the movies. With 8 expansions and a consistently evolving ecosystem, The Lord of the Rings Online has managed to sustain itself for more than a decade. Its attention to detail has built the game a dedicated fan base who find joy in living within Middle-earth.
For if you do not oppose the army of Angmar, then all the lands of Middle-earth will fall forever into darkness and shadow.
Number 3, Lego The Lord of the Rings.
What must I do?
Wait for the village of Bree.
I'll be waiting for you at the Inn of the Prancing Pony.
The LEGO games have been surprisingly consistent in terms of both quality and content. Traveler's Tales' adaptation of The Lord of the Rings combines the epic nature of the source material with LEGO's typical brand of humor and puzzle-focused gameplay. This mix works quite well by packing an impressive open world with plenty of Tolkien-themed surprises. Players are kept entertained well beyond the story's end. The playable roster covers more than 70 characters, including a few deep cuts like Radagast the Brown and Gloin. And if you like the Traveler's Tales LEGO Lord of the Rings, you'll probably want to dive into LEGO The Hobbit too.
No help came from the elves that day, nor any day since. The young dwarf prince never forgave, and he never forgot.
Number 2, The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King.
Kill them all!
We cannot wait to Aragorn!
EA's sequel to The Two Towers basically offers more of the same things players loved, only better. The Return of the King has more playable characters, more varied missions, more upgrade options, more enemies, and a crisper presentation than its great predecessor. The hack-and-slash combat remains as engrossing and cinematic as ever. Players are awarded experience points depending upon their performance, and if that wasn't enough, the game adds another dimension by including co-op for certain missions. As a movie tie-in game, The Return of the King stands out as one of the best of all time.
Have we failed?
The dead shall fight when your people are closest to us.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
I had a family once. A wife. And a son. And I buried them along with everyone I ever knew.
If you combine Tolkien with a dash of Assassin's Creed and a hint of Arkham Asylum, the result will be Shadow of Mordor. Set before the events of the Lord of the Rings novels, Shadow of Mordor follows Talion, a ranger with wraith abilities and a thirst for vengeance. During his quest, the ranger parkours his way through settlements while making mortal enemies of Sauron's forces.
He's like some man. Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! I was scared of you first time, but not now. I know I can run you through.
The game's crowning achievement is the Nemesis system that emphasizes the different personalities of Uruk. Although the sequel improves on Shadow of Mordor in some ways, Shadow of War's loot boxes killed the experience before they were removed the following year. The definitive game here is the original title.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.